you can figure out, if you haven't figured out by now, we're on Chiro Mafia. Here we go again with my brother, Italian brother, who's in Italy. Thank you. Of course you're in Italy. You see the Colosseum in the back.
Yeah, I'm worried about the tourists right now, the gelato, the Nutella crepes. Holy crepe, I'm scared.
There you go, man. And I'm hanging out at a bridge in Venice watching the rush hour traffic on the little waterways. And we got definitely a brother from another mother, one of the most philosophically heart-loving, committed, devoted chiropractor. Yeah. It's like, it's not even a title, man. It's an identity. With all the things you've done and the impact you made. Dr. Neil Cohen, we go back years, man. You've spoken at seminars. And you're just one of the most loving people. Like, if you don't love Neil, something's wrong with you.
Yes, exactly. It's not Neil.
Yeah, it's not him.
I got to get my wife to listen to this one.
Yeah.
This is good.
Yeah, you married an Italian woman. That's your problem right there. There's I would have told you that, Neil. I would have said, wait a minute, Jesus, don't do it.
You know, I was visiting this chiropractor in Sicily years ago when I was there. He married a Sicilian woman. He was an American dude, Italian-American, but he married a Sicilian woman. And they looked like, dude, what's it like being married to a Sicilian woman? And his face just got so long. And his head dropped and his shoulders slumped over. And he goes, don't ever do that. I can picture that. That's like the one advice that is ingrained in my subconscious.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah. Got it. Let's go eat. But I will say that was the most food I've ever freaking eaten. We went to a restaurant.
Yeah.
And they bring out plates and plates and plates and plates, and it doesn't stop. And you're like, honestly, I mean, I love to eat, and it looks amazing. And I'm afraid to say no, but
yes,
I can eat a lot.
Yeah.
Okay? I mean, I'm a little dude, but I eat like a 250-pound dude.
Yes.
You know, in college, we used to, every Sunday, we go to all-you-can-eat restaurants, buffets, and I was the only one that was under 200 pounds.
Yes.
And we would have eating contests every week, man. I always took second, but the guy who took first was like 240 pounds, 6'3".
Yeah, exactly.
Fucker. Nobody could beat
you were
Rudy.
Pound for pound, you were the man, pound for pound.
Oh, absolutely. You understand. I got a 4'11" mother.
Yeah.
Last Thanksgiving, she made dinner for herself, and she had her Thanksgiving dinner on a serving platter because it didn't fit on a plate. She's 87.
That's funny. Anybody that comes out here with my family, I giggle because, you know, you've got, like you're saying, the plates keep coming out, you know, and they have portion after portion. And I always tell them, like, take it easy on the portions. Like, you think the first plate's coming, that's it. No, there's not. There's 12 coming on that. So take a little, because you're going to fill up on the first one and you're going to root all the rest of it, man.
Hey, we'll get to you in a sec, Neil. We got to tell a couple of
Do we have a guest? Do we have a guest on today?
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm enjoying the shtick, man. It's good shtick.
Dude, one Thanksgiving, my mom's like, your plate is disgusting because there was so much food piled on it. I'm like, Mom, we need bigger plates. So she goes, fine. Next year, bring a serving platter. So I was married at the time. So me and my wife were going over to dinner. I'm carrying this serving platter on my own. She's like, what are you doing? I'm like, this is going to be my plate. No way. She wouldn't let me take it. I'm like, what? Who cares? Big freaking deal.
That's funny.
I know. So anyway, Neil, now it could be your turn. We have to tell Italian stories first.
Well, Neil, so Neil's wife's Italian. She knows how to cook. I watch her post on Facebook some meals. It's good stuff.
Wait a minute. I got a question. What makes you think my wife is Italian?
Oh, she's not Italian?
She is as Jewish can be, but she cooks like an Italian. She cooks like a Greek. She cooks like she's from Spain. She's the most amazing cook in the world. You would never know. You would think she's Italian, Joe. I'm not surprised.
I think she kind of acts like, you know, the Italian shtick when I'm around her. I think that's what it is.
She does. She can
You know,
personify.
you going, hey, yay. I'm like, hey, wow, look at this. Neil Miller the Italian. What a smart guy he is. Wow.
You should see her in South Carolina. She's all Southern in South Carolina. in New York City, she's all New York, man.
So let me guess. She cooks. She's got to cook at Passover.
Oh yeah, baby.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The Jews, man. What about food? You know, they got nothing, right? You know, the Sebastian Maniscalco rap on Passover. Which we got to get him
crackers and jam. Crackers and jam. I need bread. I need oil. I need bread.
We got the monopoly on bland. We cook bland. That's what we got. Gefilte fish. Bland.
Yeah. What do you mean we're going to read? How long are we going to read? 2 hours. 2 hours we got to read. I got to eat. I need bread. I need oil. I need food. All right, Neil, bring it, baby. So listen, Neil, tell me a little about your story. How did you become a chiropractor?
Well, it's a great story, and I owe it to, of course, God first, but my wife. She was we were boyfriend and girlfriend. She literally birthed chiropractic into our family, is the way I tell it. She was going to the chiropractor. She loved the chiropractor. She tried to bring me to the chiropractor. Of course, I was resistant because, you know, nothing wrong, right? I went with her one day, and this guy, and like many chiropractors, he was charming, he was disarming, he was relational, and he told me I needed a chiropractic adjustment because I had a bad neck. And what was funny is I never told him I had a bad neck. And he said, I could see you got a bad neck. He took an x-ray, showed me a reverse curve. At the time, I didn't even know what he was talking about. But at the end of the day, he gave me an adjustment. And that one adjustment changed my life. It changed the trajectory and the direction of my life. And not because I was suffering, but because I realized the power of what a chiropractic adjustment could do in a microsecond. And
so let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I was already a chiropractor when I got my first adjustment, right? We're in chiropractic school. Knowing nothing and one adjustment changed your life, how did that feel? Like, I'm curious being, you know, having no idea like that. Because, you know, now I'm actually conscious. Like now when I get adjusted, I feel like a waterfall of energy going down my spinal cord. So what did you feel in that first adjustment?
So I think that's a great question. I'm so glad that you asked me that and you stopped me, because the cool thing about it is I was walking around not knowing what normal was. To me, I was normal and I wasn't normal. So the feeling was this. It was as if I was carrying a duffel bag on my back my whole life and didn't know it. And then when I got adjusted, literally it fell off. I felt lighter. I felt freer. I felt everything that we say chiropractic can do for an individual, but I did not know how to articulate it. All I knew is, oh my gosh, I actually said, where they've been keeping this stuff. This is amazing. Tell me about it. And the guy that adjusted me, he was not philosophically articulate. So he couldn't tell me anything. He just shook his head, very charming. And he shook his head. He said, you know, just like this is good, but never really said anything. And I literally, in my mind, I was grabbing him by the collar. Tell me what this is. And he didn't tell me. So now I'm on this journey. What is this stuff? How does it work? I was curious. You know, I had just finished 2 years of college and literally dropped out because I didn't know which direction I was going in. So it was literally perfect timing in God's economy. I decided, okay, I'm going to go back to college and study and become a chiropractor. This was my life purpose. This was my life direction. It was my passion. And when I still didn't know anything when I got to Life College. I didn't know a thing. And I started listening to Dr. Sid Williams, and he was talking about things that just innately made sense to me. Talked about how we can express our lives better, how we can be better individuals, better husbands, better fathers. And literally, I bought it Dr. Fred, I bought it hook, line, and sinker.
Okay, let me ask you another question. Because we know, man, chiropractors isn't something you find. It's something you're created for. Like our spirit, Psalm 139:16, you saw my days before they were formed, right? When they were unformed, right? So we come in with that purpose. So here you didn't know anything about, because I went to chiropractic school not knowing even what chiropractic was. So, but we knew in our spirit. So did you have that feeling like you knew it in your spirit that without a doubt, did you have faith before that moment? Were you raised with faith? Did that feel like a sign from God? Like, what was that thing that just said, I'm doing it?
So for me, what God put in my spirit from a very early age was that I had a purpose to be fulfilled. I wasn't sure what that purpose was, but I knew it had to do with humanity. I knew it had to do with helping people. I knew it had to do with serving. And the way my mind worked at the time, I was thinking, okay, is it fireman? Is it police officer? Is it doctor? Oh, I'm not smart enough to be a doctor. It can't be doctor. I can't even do math problems. And that was one of the things that I loved about chiropractic. You didn't need a whole lot of math to get into chiropractic college. And I said, I think this is it. This is it. This is where I'm going. And it was very interesting because that was the fulfillment of an early childhood understanding of having a purpose in life, having a direction in life. And the more that I learned about the philosophy of chiropractic, the profoundness of chiropractic, the beauty of chiropractic, the more I realized that this was something that God was going to plant deep in my soul for me to do for the rest of my life. And that's, I think, what led me to right now is that I haven't lost one iota of understanding and belief and just desire to move chiropractic and perpetuate it in the way that it needs to be perpetuated. So,
you know what, man, that is it right there. Like you just hit the nail on the head. I'm going to tell a quick story. I remember being 7 years old in Philadelphia, playing in the front lawn on a summer day in my immigrant grandparents' home, right? And I remember my grandfather, 73 years old, guinea white tee, trying to take a nap on the porch. My grandmother yelling Italian through the kitchen window. And I remember thinking, we have that universal moment, like when you got adjusted, like all of eternity comes into this moment. And I said, I wonder what's going through his mind. 73, what's going through his mind right now? Probably nothing. He's trying to tune out everything. And then I thought, when I'm sitting in that chair, I want the world to be different. But we didn't know, right? So when I found chiropractic on a pamphlet, that's it. Like, why are you people say, and I'm sure you get this, how do you maintain your purpose and your passion after all these decades? You probably get that a lot. Because it comes right down to this. Your spirit came here for it. And that is the foundational belief of of why you're here and what you're doing. And that's what drives you every day.
100%. And what I'm so grateful for is that chiropractic philosophy, in my humble opinion, transcends chiropractic. It's beyond chiropractic.
It's a universal law.
Yeah, well, yes, but when we talk about the body knowing what to do in all circumstances, whether you have cancer or whether you have a broken arm or whether you have just the recreation of normal, beautiful cells because you're healthy, the intelligence that was imputed, that was implanted into the body always does the right thing. That's what we're called to do. We're called to do the right thing. Now, we fail miserably, I'll be quite honest with you, because we're human and we have flaws, and those flaws are inherent in original sin, basically. But here's the thing. We have an opportunity to do the right thing, to be the best dad, to be the best husband, to be the best chiropractor, to deliver the best adjustment, because according to God's economy, we're going to have to give an account for everything that we think, we do, and we say. So when BJ said, you never know how far reaching something you do, think, or say will have an effect on millions of people. I mean, we have an effect on everything that we do. So we have this opportunity with this philosophy to do the right thing. And no matter what you paid for a chiropractic education, if you have this understanding, it's going to take you much further in life than any other philosophical belief system that I know of.
Absolutely. Okay, Joe, it's your turn, man, because I know you've been storing it up, buddy. Let it out.
Come on, Joe.
When you talked about getting your first adjustment, there's a guy that I adjusted here a number of years ago in Italy. His name's Luigi. So we built a couple of chiropractic tables over here, and so he had some challenges, and I had a little office, so I took care of people over here. So he comes in, we talk a little bit, and I adjusted him, and he spoke a little bit of English, and it was just one of those moments where, like you said, you got it. You know what I mean? Like you almost didn't know what it was, but you got it. And he got up after a cervical adjustment, and he took a deep breath. Like he didn't say anything, and he almost like, is he hurt? Did it hurt? Was it uncomfortable? And he gets up, he leans his head back, arches back, and he goes, my brain can breathe better. And I just thought that was probably the best description from a layman's term of what just happened. You've got all this energy, all this vital force, all these signals, messages, commands from birth. Like you said, you think you're okay because you don't know any different. No one can go, okay, Neil, let me take you at 30 and let me take your body being adjusted from birth. Here's what that feels like. And Neil, here you are 30, never getting adjusted, and that's what that feels like. So you don't have any contrast. You have no preference. You have no perception of what that is. So you don't know. So you think you're okay because you don't know what the opposite would be, right? So when he got up and he just had that will always stay with me, because in the end, in layman's terms, that's what we do, right? We get your brain to breathe better, and it's breathing a propagation of vital force, vital impulse, mental impulse to go through the nervous system and express itself through all the cells and bring that vital energy to the cells and allow the body to work the way it's supposed to. And I just, I wish that everyone could feel that in that way each and every time they got adjusted. You want them to, because if they got that feeling, like, then the rest of it's easy, because like you said, your guy never really explained anything philosophically. You almost don't need to if somebody has that experience each and every time. So every time I see him, he's like, hey, hey, you gotta take care of
he's like, hey, you know what, man, I don't know if people got what you just said. It's not that, I mean, the fact that he said my brain can breathe again. But, imagine a report of findings if someone has an objection. And I would say, what the problem is? You have no idea what it's like to be adjusted from birth to now to your 46 years old. That is your optimal potential. You're living where you're living, not knowing the difference.
Correct.
Yeah, and you have every right to live continually the way you are. My question is, do you want to experience the difference of where you could be? Where you can be.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's like there's a gap you have no idea about. And that's your potential. But right now, what's potential? Possibility unrealized. That's what potential is. It's possibility unrealized. Do you want to realize it?
If you took, we talk about this in our huddles, but one of the examples is, like, say somebody gave you contact lenses and they deliberately skewed your vision by like 5%, almost indistinguishable, but there's like a 5% diminishment of your vision, and you had that from birth, and then you had a twin brother or sister, right, and they didn't have those contact lenses on. Like the idea that you would think your life is the same, like how you look at anything, a sunset, right? A sunrise, the color green, what people look like, going to activity, like every aspect of your life is diminished by 5%. So who you are and who you become is going to be different because of that diminishment, that, you know, and the subluxation diminishes your sensation, your olfactory, your vision, your taste, your touch. All of that could be diminished by 5, 10, 15%. So you don't even, you're a different human being just because you experience your life through the nervous system at 20 or 30 if you're getting adjusted from birth versus you're not. And we don't know that. And who you become, what level of work you do, your social order, your social status,
your
the
whole
relationships
identity.
you have, everything's different.
Yeah. The nervous system is responsible for every aspect of the human experience. I mean, that's the bottom line. That's what the nervous system does. But, you know, it's really interesting because we can talk about the empirical things, the sensory things, the things we feel. But I always want to look at chiropractic on a deeper level. What are we keeping? What are we preventing from happening from someone who comes in at 46 years old, may not have this incredible feeling like you or I may have had, but yet it's preventing cancer from growing in his body. It's preventing thyroid disease. It's preventing kidneys. You know, this is really the you know, chiropractic is so much deeper than just what we see and what we feel. It's really, it's about the recreation of who we are at the highest possible level. And we can't even fathom what that looks like, because you talk about potential. We tend to talk about potential as chiropractors because 90% of the time or more, they are going to experience a greater potential that they can feel. But here's what we can promise as chiropractors, that we can get you clear. We can get you clear. And Reggie Gold was really, he was amazing at this, because people would say, when am I going to feel better? And he'd say, how the hell do I know? And the reason he said that is because he could only promise the promise. And the promise was that I can adjust you and get you clear. What that looks like, Freddie, you're going to have to tell me what that looks like. And by the way, give me 3 months, because it takes the body a little while to regrow itself in that way. You can't have a good baby in 3 months. So, but you can have a better health outcome in 3 months. And so we have to promise the promise. And I say that as chiropractors, we always want to give hope to the patient. We always want to talk about the potential that they have. But at the end of the day, we don't know the power of what the body can do once it's clear and once it's adjusted.
You know, there's two things you said that is absolutely life-changing for a chiropractor and for a patient. You know, and that is, you said chiropractic, or the nervous system, determines every aspect of the human experience. And what that, because I'm teaching a boot camp this weekend, I'm like, shit, I need to write that down or embed that, because think about it. Then chiropractic to resolve a health problem is so small.
Exactly.
It's every fucking aspect of your whole identity for 95 freaking years. Every aspect of the human experience.
How you think,
how you love, how you interact, your whole perception of the outside world and the inside world. Like, and then you think about it, well, I'm going to help you with your allergies. How fucking small is that?
This is my point. This is my point. And what's so interesting about this is that it affects the subluxation on a mass level, affects the adaptability and the reactability of a society. This is literally has societal implications. Living in a subluxated environment and a world has effects on the consciousness and the way you respond in the world. And so thinking about some of the things that BJ talked about, and I know they were very, it was almost hyperbole, freeing the, emptying the prisons and the insane asylums. But at the end of the day, if you can take an environment and make it fairly subluxation free, that's always going to be a healthier environment than an environment of massive subluxation.
Yes.
Hey, well,
Yeah.
and there's two things I wanted to say. And absolutely, man, well, that's the big idea, right? Shifting the consciousness. The other thing that you said is the nervous system, the innate intelligence is always going to do what's right, what's perfect first. And so this is something I heard, a patient may complain about pain, but the nervous system is going to heal your heart. It may heal your immune system. It may be you're going to have a heart attack in 6 months and you don't even know. And you're worried about your neck pain.
Right.
Your nervous system is going to heal the highest priority. So your pain could be the lowest priority for your nervous system.
It is. The pain is the lowest, always.
I know.
Always the lowest priority.
It's like,
Yeah,
man, they got to
exactly.
get that in the beginning.
Yes. We need to get it as a profession.
Well, yeah, right.
Because we're conditioned based, and I get it, but in the reality of it, your opportunity is to live a longer, better quality life, to be a higher level functioning human being. I mean, you are neurologically and innately compromised if you're not going to a chiropractor. Like, I'm not looking to see if you have a chiropractic problem. Like you hear some people say, well, we're going to evaluate, see a chiropractic problem. You have a spine, a dentist doesn't go, let me look at your mouth, see if you have a dental problem. I mean, you got to brush and floss them, right? So the same idea. So you're neurologically and innately compromised if you're not getting care. Bottom line, end of story. From the day you come out till throughout every day of your life. So you always have to get adjusted. You always have to be checked in order to keep some integrity of the spine and the nervous system, which is the conduit of life. I mean, so if we could start with that idea and we have that collective baseline foundation, which I know we don't, then, then it becomes a lot easier because they're not doctor hopping, they're not doctor shopping, they're not, well, I went to this guy and I got a totally different experience than I went to this guy, and this guy gave me a totally different experience than this lady. And, it weakens our message. It weakens our foundation. It doesn't mean you can't get into other stuff. It just, our foundation has to be solid, and it's not. So
yeah, and I think oftentimes we get sucked into the condition world because that's their reality, and we have to meet them somewhere. But how do we do the dance to take them from there to a higher level of thinking? That's really the key. And also you have to ask yourself the question: do they want it? Not everybody wants that, so you have to be able to vet out. Am I throwing pearls to swine here, or are these people really interested in a message that is a better message? You talk about being subluxated, and we're either moving towards health or moving towards sickness, and those that are not getting adjusted, presumably if they're subluxated, obviously, I mean, people could not get adjusted and not have a great deal of interference. There are those, few of them, but there are those. The point is that if you're not getting adjusted, you're moving towards sickness. That's just the bottom line. You're not moving towards health. And something you said to me, we were together at one point, and I think it was your mom or your dad. I think it was your mom that said this, and I carry this with me, Dr. Joe. I think it's the most brilliant thing, and chiropractors need to hear it. In fact, I spoke at an event in March, and I talked about this, and chiropractors started making posters and posts on social media. And the least amount of philosophy that a patient has to know is this: chiropractic is good for you. That's it. Yeah. It's good for you. We don't have, we drink water because it's good for us. We brush our teeth because it's good for us. We don't understand. We don't even know how many teeth are in our mouth.
Exactly.
So what we try to do is we try to complicate it by talking about, organs, tissue, cells, all that stuff's true, but we have to meet them on the level. You never hear pastors talking about the Bible in such a way that no one understands it. Exactly. You've got to meet people in the 4th grade. If you're meeting them in the 9th grade, it's way over their head. They won't come back. So let's just start off with that great thing. Was it your mom that said this? It's good for you, Joey. Do it. It's good for you.
Yeah, it's good for you. It's good for you. Don't worry about it. It's good for you. So, if we can get that down, that just getting adjusted is good for you. In the end, that's a lot, right? Because there's no, I always say there's no health in crooked. You know, more crooked, more sick, more crooked, more nerve interference, more crooked, more pain, more crooked, more arthritis, more disability, loss of brain function. So no one thinks crooked's better. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What's better, crooked or straight? Straight. All right. Well, are you straight? No. All right. Well, what are we arguing about? You can't drug it straight. You can't drug your spine straight. You can't take Advil and make it straight. You can't drug your teeth straight. You need braces. You can't stretch your spine straight. You can't exercise it straight, but you got to get it adjusted straight. That's the only way to do it.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm signing up for Joe's office. That's all I needed. That's all I need is the crooked talk.
I want to be a Barrio client. I told him on the phone before this, I want to be your client.
No, you
yeah,
don't.
I do. So I want to comment on something you said, like we get so involved in conditions, and one thing we teach, I'll be teaching this weekend at a boot camp, is every patient only has one problem. It's not their asthma. It's not their ulcerative colitis. It's not their back pain. The only problem is they didn't take care of their spine and nervous system from birth. That's their only problem. So they walk in. So if you're trying to solve a health problem, even if it's crooked spine, that's healthcare. You have a problem, you go to a doctor, you fix it, and they leave. That's your PVA. But the only problem you're solving is lifestyle. All day one and day two is assessing how much damage did you do to your spine and nervous system for the first 46 years of never taking care of it. Well, no one told me. Well, now, so how do you want to live the next 46 years? I mean, that's the only problem you're ever solving. There's only one problem.
It's so important what you said, Dr. Fred. I read something about 10 or 12 years ago. I don't know if you've heard of the Bain brothers. I think they were out of the Northeast.
Oh yeah, Bill Bain and his brother and sister.
And Bill Bain wrote something, and it stuck with me, Joe, just like chiropractic's good for you. And I think this is almost as powerful, if not as powerful. And he said, and Freddie, you reminded me of this when you said this, everybody comes into your office with the same problem. And you're thinking, well, it's subluxation, right? No, it is. But he would say this, their life is slipping away. And I love that because we are about life. We're not about health. The 33 principles does not mention the word health, but yes, it mentions life or living 12 times. And so when Bill Bain said, everybody's got the same problem, their life is slipping away. That's what's happening when they walk into our office. They've lost life. And guess what? Because they're alive, because they have innate intelligence, innate is either 100% or zero. And they're alive. So we know it's 100%. So they come in to the office with everything they need to be healthy. And we get the privilege, the honor to remove interference and go, hey, isn't chiropractic wonderful? It's amazing. So yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, and then, with that philosophy, how can you not have a huge practice? If that's the way you see people, because when that becomes, and here's the thing, man, the principle simplified is health is energy. Energy is health. We're energetic beings. We're literally electromagnetic beings. And every wire has an electromagnetic force. That's why you're not supposed to live under power wires, right? There's an electromagnetic force around the spinal cord. Spinal cord delivers electricity. There's an electromagnetic force. Every cell has a charge on it. You disrupt that force and you're going to create disease. When you have 100% energy moving through there, you literally resonate, vibrate at the frequency, the resonant frequency of the universe. Disease cannot exist at that frequency. And so we're energetic beings, man. And, that's what it is. Energy is health. And that's, Joe and I have talked about it. I was walking through the gym about a month ago and it hit me and a loud voice in my head said, energy healing is the healthcare of the new world. And then immediately I thought it's always been that. But Rockefeller got shafted, in his opinion, by the Supreme Court for monopolizing the oil industry. And that's when petroleum-based drugs and pharmacology started, right? So it was a business. It's always been energy healing. And as we bring, growing up Catholic, we say those words so like automatically, not thinking, thy will be done. God's will be done through us on earth as it is in heaven. Right? The spine and nervous system is the bridge from heaven to earth. Because you even look at the chakras that relates to the spine. Your crown chakra is divine energy coming in. Your root chakra is a connection to earth. That is heaven coming to earth. That is our spine. Our spine is the bridge between heaven and earth. That is us taking innate energy through us to express on this physical plane. We're fifth dimensional beings, heavenly divine beings, walking on a third dimensional plane, walking in a physical plane. That's who we are. And you can't express that when you're subluxated, because you're creating an interference. And that's really what it is. And that's the big idea. That's why you said it changes consciousness of the world. Every adjustment is a shift in consciousness in humanity. And so that's what it's like, is that's how we bring God through us, right? Genesis 1:27, we're born in the likeness and image of God. How can we express that into the physical matter of our body? That's through the spine and nervous system. So anyway, I can go off on that for a while.
I believe it.
I think, when you ask the average person, and again, bringing it to a much simpler level for them, because we're going to think in that way, right? Both theologically and metaphysically, and from a simple, a level of almost, in a quantum level. I mean, that makes sense to us. You can see that, the average person, if you ask them, what tells their body what to do, they all, I've never had somebody not get that right. My brain, well, how's your brain talk to your body? It goes through nerves, it goes through my spine. So, I mean, they get, there is a, what is it? It's a message, it's a signal, it's a text, it's an email, it's some kind of cell signal communication that's going through there. So they do get, like you're saying, on a different level, that there is energy, there is communication. I say to the docs, certainly that we coach, because you get frustrated. You get frustrated because you just want people to get it. You just want to be able to go in and adjust people and everybody get it, and they're not laying in bed going, I wonder how my brain talks to my liver and what happens if that spine's out of alignment and there's a miscommunication. Like they're not thinking that, they're not going to bed with that kind of thought. So we think like that. They don't think like that. So how do you, using some of your words, Fred, how do you bridge that, right? And then you listen to Neil, and Neil talks about that, that deep level of really understanding the deeper level of what chiropractic is. So the challenge we bring is, how do we take what we know and lead other people in an effort to at least understand it or plug it in? And like you said, Neil, not everybody wants, what we're grilling, if you will, right? And then Fred's a master at, utilizing different levels of communication in a very structured way in an effort to help really reveal. I like that word reveal. Like you either reveal or create a realization for somebody that says, hey, I want to utilize this in my life, in my healthcare. Because it's frustrating. You go to work, everybody needs to be adjusted, and you just want to love on them and care for them, and they're the problem, right? I mean, they're the problem. We're not the problem. They're the problem. So, it's just, you just want them to lay down, get adjusted, and leave. It's perfect. It's easy. Why make it complicated, but it's complicated. So
interesting too. You talk about docs getting frustrated and because they want people to get it. What if we just say that they may be on the path to getting
Absolutely.
it? Because
yeah,
and that doc is instrumental, but may not be the doc that where they get it. And I think that we have to understand this journey. It's journey work, because even chiropractors, and listen, we've been around a long time. We've seen the straightest chiropractors go rogue. Okay. We've seen the most rogue chiropractors graduated schools like, I don't know, Dr. Joe National, and then become become amazing principal chiropractors, Jim Sigafus, Northwestern, you see Dan Sullivan, you see Jason Sabo. I mean, so there's a journey. And I think what the problem we have in chiropractic is those of us that believe we've arrived, and there's plenty that do, and I'm not one of them, but those that believe that they've arrived, they feel like they can be critical of other people's journey.
Absolutely.
And we really can't, because we don't get to choose the journey that anybody else is on. And remember, each person that comes into your office is also on a journey, and we become sometimes just a pit stop for them to get a little bit of love, a little bit of juice, a little bit of understanding, and then maybe 10 years later they go, "Oh my gosh, Dr. Borio told me this. I should have got it." And so for us to get frustrated, and I know we all do, and I'm not saying I've reached glory here, because I still get frustrated, but for us to get frustrated, I think that inhibits our ability to be the better chiropractor.
Yes.
Because we want them to get it because of us.
Yes. Yeah. Gandhi said, what? Be the change you wish to see. I started my life thinking I could change the world, and in the end, I realized I could only change me, but I realized in changing me, I could then change the world, so it's really, if you want to bring chiropractic to the world, be the best chiropractor, be what you want to see the world, be the best at that, and you'll lead more people doing it that way. So,
hey, you said something brilliant. I did a podcast interview with Neil Donald Walsh, Conversation with God. And so, it was all about purpose, right? And I'm like, look, man, you affected millions of people around the world, blah, blah, blah. You're making a difference. And he goes, no. And he said exactly what you said. He goes, I only have one responsibility, and that is to really be of pure consciousness, really to understand and live who God created me to be. And he goes, I don't know if I'll ever reach it in that lifetime. Like what you said, Neil, you're so humble. Like, look, hey, those that have arrived, and that's not me. And then I was thinking, well, those people that think they have arrived are the ones that haven't arrived.
Exactly.
Until you're walking in sandals with a robot and a goatee and illuminating, you haven't arrived. Like, if you think you have arrived, it is very sure that you haven't arrived.
Yes. Yeah. It was a great interview. Oh, go ahead.
But he said, and he said exactly what you said. He said, all I can do is be, one day have a Christ consciousness, basically, understand and live my divinity, and then the world will change. And I'm like, my God, that's so much easier, because we have so many visions, all these things we want to do, and it can be overwhelming with the visions that you have, and then you think, if I can just raise my consciousness and continue that evolution, then everything else is going to be different. That's how you get it, is just do that one thing, right? It's like we're being called to change the world, but what we're really being called to is to change our mind.
Yes. Mike Tyson, he was interviewed a number of years ago, and he said something, and it was so perfect in what I wanted to hear or share or needed to hear. And he was asked, like, does it bother you when people mock how you talk, or bring up your losses, or mock you now with some of the challenges that you've had in your life? That, does it upset you? Does it frustrate you, especially with social media? And he said, only when I think I'm somebody does it bother me. But when I'm reminded, and I remind myself that I'm nobody, that I'm just a person, a soul, a person on the planet like everyone else, then it doesn't bother me, So it's that ego, that creeps up and snaps up as it gets in our way. And that's what creates the frustration sometimes. And, and you realize, wait a minute, you know what? I'm nobody. I'm a servant. I'm here to serve. I'm here to love. I'm here to do the best job I can. And tomorrow I could probably do a better job than I can today, right? So it's not noble to elevate yourself against your fellow man, but it is noble to start each day and to be better, to make yourself better than your former self. So in the end, that's what our journey is, to be better each and every day. And by doing that, then it becomes easier to lead and influence other people, because you become something that they want, if you will. So
And that's how you build your practice.
No doubt. 100%.
Amen.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Well, we gotta, this has always been, it's always amazing. And Neil, every time, we're with you and we talk philosophy, it's like we can go for hours.
Yeah. Well, Neil's got a book. He wrote a book. I want to talk about that. And then Neil does above down success coaching with Dr. Neil Cohen. So I do want to talk about that. So Neil, talk to me about your book first off.
So God put it on my heart to write a devotional that is not only based in biblical principles and scripture, but also helps a chiropractor in practice. And I believe that chiropractic and God are indivisible. That's just what I believe. I know that not everyone believes that, but I believe that, I always start with the question, where is God not? And of course, there's only one answer, and he's everywhere because he's omnipresent. So he's in chiropractic, he's in our practice, he's in our lives. And what we have to do is have a God-centered practice more than a man-centered practice. Now, being patient-centered is much more a greater opportunity than to be doctor-centered. So we want to have a God-centered, patient-centered practice. And so what I've done in this book is a 33-day devotional, and I've shared in there knowledge and truth. I've shared in there the wisdom of God and how we apply that in practice, whether it's as a servant leader or as someone who is delivering the best adjustment that they can possibly deliver. So, we look at a scripture like Colossians 1:17, and it says, in him all things were made. There was nothing that was made that was not made through him, talking about Christ. Well, what is that? That is our major premise. Our major premise is that. So Christ is actually our major premise. And, we call it universal intelligence. And, there's we can have a philosophical conversation about that. But God is holding things together. God is holding our body together. He's holding this world together. He spoke the world into existence. He'll speak the world out of existence. So he holds our breath in our hands. This book is, I'm very, very proud of it. And I'm super critical of myself. I couldn't believe, I almost feel like I didn't write it. I feel like somebody moved my hand to write this book. And in the back of the book, day 33, I include the 33 principles. I have the sacred trust. I also have what I think are very important principles that are biblical, the love one another principles. Love one another, be kind and affectionate to one another, greet one another with a holy kiss. I mean, we have an opportunity to be greater beings by listening to these words of God. He wrote 66 love letters to us, and we owe it to the author to at least open the book and gain an understanding and become discipled in what I call a complete system of truth. And that includes chiropractic in there. So that's the book. It's called A Hope Without End. And you can get it on Amazon if you want. As far as coaching goes, never thought I'd ever be a coach, Dr. Joe. I know I spoke to you a year ago after Sherman. The whole thing with Sherman ended. I was with Sherman 10 years. I needed a plan B. I wasn't sure if I wanted to do coaching. We had a conversation. You encouraged me. And I have to tell you, God has really moved me in a wonderful, wonderful arena here, helping young chiropractors, because we know that a lot of these schools are not teaching what these kids need to know to be successful.
Absolutely.
So
100%.
what I feel like I can leverage my knowledge, my experience, my success, and really give them a head start in becoming successcoaching and not just being successful in practice, but having a successful life. So that's Above Down Success Coaching. I got a website, abovedownsuccesscoaching.com. Check it out. You can get the book there as well. And you can download a free copy of the book if you'd like on that website. So I appreciate you guys letting me talk about my gig. Thank you very much.
Yeah, well, you're a wonderful leader. You're a wonderful communicator. you know, the level of passion. And, you know, Fred and I, you know, we've been around a long time. We've been coaching a long time. Fred's been at it longer than me, but, you know, there isn't necessarily the perfect coach for each person, right? So you need, or maybe there is, but you know, maybe I don't resonate, even though my messaging is the same and what I teach is very similar. You know, but they may not resonate with me, and they might listen to Neil, and Neil's gonna, oh wow, I really resonate with Neil. I really resonate with Fred, and in the end, that's, you know, that makes me happy. I want you to be the best version of who you can be and what you were intended to be, and if that's through working with somebody else, that's, you know, that's fantastic. So we're all on the same team, right? So
Absolutely. And we need to stick together. Well, hey, Neil, thanks so much for being on here, man. And we love you. And yeah, we need to get together sometime.
Neil, let me ask you quickly before Fred signs this off. You're not Italian, is that accurate?
I am not Italian at all. I mean,
and your wife is not either, is that
not
correct?
either, and neither is my son.
Yeah, Fred, how the fuck did he get on the podcast?
I don't know, man. Whose idea was this?
I thought his wife was at least, so I'm like, all right, we'll let him in anyway, fill some kind of quota, but geez, are you kidding me?
Well, Joe, I want to tell you something I know you can appreciate. I've been preparing for this podcast for at least 7 months. I just wanted you to know that. 7 months. And when I got the call today, a half hour before it started, I threw a shirt on and I got ready and I'm here, baby.
We're glad. Just so you know, it was 30 minutes, but technically it was an hour and a half because I had my time off because I'm in Italy.
It allowed a shower.
Like, hey, where's the link? I'm like, Neil, I'm sorry. I'm even worse now. I'm an hour.
Dude, I had like 4 days worth of growth on my face. And I was like, now I got time for a shower. By the way, my son Michael coaches with Dr. Borio. He absolutely adores Dr. Joe. I love that Joe's taking care of my son.
Yeah. Well,
awesome.
Amazing guy.
He's an honor. Every
cool,
level.
Man. Hey, love you guys. Hey, go to the YouTube channel, Chiro Mafia, subscribe.
Yeah,
and,
share,
definitely
like
share this, man, because the things we went through today, the whole profession needs.
Absolutely, 100%.
Tribute to your chiropractic buddies and colleagues. All right, love you guys.
Congratulations on your book, Dr. Neil.
Thank you. Love you guys.
All right, peace.